So you will become the type of coach that feels more confident, more competent, more able to navigate conversations around race, around power and identity when they enter the coaching room. You'll actually become the type of coach that notices when they were already present without them perhaps being named by a client. You will become the type of coach that a client will feel a greater level of trust with, and feel able to share things that they might not otherwise be able to share. You will become the type of coach that has done the work on themselves and understand much clearer how, as coaches, we show up in a space, the power and presence that we bring to that space, and the things that we need to do to enable our clients to show up as fully as possible. So yes, you will become the type of coach that the world needs now more than ever. So the program offers a blended learning approach. We have 5 live sessions running throughout September, October and November of this year. And there are also asynchronous learning modules that really support you to do some of the knowledge learning in between those sessions. And there's also work to invite reflection and journaling, perhaps some ideas that might come up that you also might take to your supervision. So there's real opportunity to engage with group learning during those live sessions. And there's also opportunity for you to have some individual reflection time. The program also includes a 1 hour one-to-one coaching session with myself. And so, again, there's that opportunity and that space for you to, and us together, to work through any things that you might be really wanting to untangle that's come up in the content that you think you really want to tussle with and want to learn a little bit more about. So you might be a coach or a supervisor, a trainer or a facilitator that has a sense that the work that you do doesn't quite fully embody all of your values. You might feel a level of cognitive dissonance in that. Maybe you've been avoiding conversations around race and identity for fear of getting it wrong. Or perhaps you're engaging in those conversations and tired of wondering whether or not you're getting it right or wrong, and perhaps you don't have the supervision in place to kind of work some of those questions through. Maybe you just have this sense that actually the coaching frameworks as they exist and operate today don't support you to engage in some of the conversations that are being brought to coaching at the moment, and perhaps they don't, perhaps they feel quite limiting with regards to working around the edges of coaching and some of the conversations and content that's being brought. So I think if you are somebody who is feeling any of those things, perhaps you've done quite a lot of work on yourself already around race and identity. Perhaps you've done a lot of reading around anti-racism and inclusion, but you still might be struggling to understand how that relates to your practice, how that shows up in your coaching space with your clients, what that might mean in terms of how you engage with clients, how you support them in whatever it is they're bringing. Perhaps there's a gap there in terms of your practice. That's absolutely where I think this program will help you. So I think to anybody feeling nervous or perhaps unsure about stepping into this conversation, I would really just assure you that you do not need to be an expert to step into this space. And this is not about being word perfect. This is very much about exploring coaching specifically through the lens of race and power and identity, and actually getting in the messy middle of that, because even the most experienced coaches and supervisors haven't necessarily done the work at this depth because it doesn't exist within the coaching profession. And so this is a really unique opportunity to be in dialogue with others who want to do this learning, who perhaps have a level of fear or maybe trepidation to step into this space. Perhaps they feel that this is work that they should have already done. And actually, a lot of coaches and supervisors have already done work in anti-racism or around inclusion, but they're often struggling to connect that work and that learning with their own practice. And what does that mean when they are in dialogue with a client? And so this learning really is a gift to coaches and supervisors to be able to be in these spaces with clients and to be able to remain present and to be able to hold everything that's being brought. And the training that we do here together is really our practice ground for that. So I think if we view it as our practice ground, as our training ground, as the space that we can say things in perhaps a clumsy way, but that's okay, because this is the space in which we kind of build our racial literacy, we build our emotional resilience, and we feel more able to then practice some of these skills that we develop within the coaching spaces with our clients. Yeah, so I will say to clients that actually it is the change, it's the transformation in you throughout the duration of this program that really changes the coaching that you do. Many coaches do arrive hoping for more tools, because I think that's what we've become quite accustomed to as a profession. But this is really much more about the being side of coaching. So our coaching program, our training program, is designed around our equity-centered coaching practice. So we very much look at your foundations, your philosophy of your coaching practice, how you coach with your clients, how you develop yourself as a coach, and also how you impact the wider coaching profession. And we look at those 4 quadrants through the lens of equity. So equity is absolutely at the heart of the work that we do together. And this really is about up-leveling your knowledge, your presence as coaches, your capacity to hold change, and also your ability to impact change within the world. So the program absolutely offers tools and practices that you will be able to use within spaces with clients, but the focus of it is very much more about transforming you as an individual. So investing in this critical work to really understand who we are, I think, is essential and urgent work for coaches at the moment, because who we are ultimately shapes how we coach, and how we coach shapes the world that we live in. So as coaches, we are very much taught how to listen, but perhaps not taught how to hear somebody's life experiences that have been very much shaped through racism and systemic inequity. We talk a lot about holding spaces that are non-judgmental, but we perhaps fail to examine what silence in those spaces may do in terms of upholding harm. And we talk a lot about presence as coaches, but we perhaps fail to talk about and examine positionality, both of ourselves and of our clients. And so Beyond Bias really offers a structure, it offers a community, it offers a space to do some of this learning around identity and positionality, to perhaps unlearn some of the things that aren't serving us, and to really focus on rebuilding a practice that centres equity and is there to really see and hold space for all of our clients.